Yeah. So like that center, right next to the World Congress Center, like that's where I work.
Oh, dope.
That big old building. Yeah. Next year, like if you want to go on a tour, I can totally take you on a tour.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
And the thing is, it won't be $50 like it normally would be.
That's a little arrogant. It's just a World Trade. It's just a building, like $50.
It's not just the World. No, I'm talking about the CNN Center.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still, even World of Coke don't cost $50 to tour.
Yeah, but then you pay for all of like the extra stuff that you get in it.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe it's really cool. I can't knock it. I've never been there.
It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to kind of see how everything sort of works. Plus, I'd be able to take you into all the nooks and crannies. And all the places people aren't actually allowed to go on the tour.
Okay. Behind the scenes access. I'm down.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
The link is in the chat. We are live. We're good.
Cool.
I think I gotta check Twitch on my phone real fast just to make. Yep, there's the there's a mobile dashboard to keep things kind of going on my end. Make sure things are going good.
I'm making a lot of noise wrapping this freaking sandwich.
It's okay.
Hey,
what kind of sandwich is it?
It's a patty melt. I've never had a patty melt from.
Oh, patty melts are good.
I mean, it is really good. I'm enjoying it.
Well, that's good, as long as you're enjoying it.
How do I host? How do I do that? Thunderstar, Eric?
I have no idea.
Hold on. Let me look at Twitch.
I've never really figured that one out yet. So.
I'm like, I
don't normally stream on Twitch, but there's always a first for me to kind of figure out.
I gotta follow you.
Oh.
What?
Why am I not following you?
A fine question. I have no idea. I'm just kind of in the area between like here are people, here are not people. I'm just in between, like I'm here, I'm not. I'm just everywhere.
All right, let's try let me go to my channel, see what I can do.
I think you go to your channel and then maybe. Let's see. No, I don't want to report myself.
Why? Well, that's not very fun.
Oh my god, people have actually looked at this channel? I don't do anything on it.
I rarely ever do things on mine. I need to start doing more on mine. I've got a lot of ideas.
Theater mode, settings, full screen, edit.
No, it's not that I lack ideas, it's I lack time for ideas.
Let's see, host.
I don't know how to do it. You know what? I'm going to Google it.
Pick a live channel narrator host. There we go. Host. Already did it.
Oh, you already figured it out. Okay, never mind.
You go to your channel dashboard, and your creator dashboard, bottom right is raid and host, and you can choose the channel to host or raid.
Okay, cool.
So, well, learned something new today.
So, and that's that.
Neat.
I think
One
it's
day
really working.
One day I'll stream on Twitch, maybe. I don't even know.
Everyone's doing it. It's like the hip new thing to do. It's like stream on Twitch.
No.
I shouldn't say hip new. It's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, but it's kind of like just taking off where like everybody's doing it.
A lot of people are transitioning. Not transitioning. That's the wrong word. They're adding to their repertoire of entertainment. Twitch from YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, with this,
I usually.
and I think we discussed in past podcasts before of YouTube's algorithm is so odd.
It's ever changing.
I think the thing for me though on Twitch though is that it's hard for me to be able to stream art with like music because I think I have to have like certain licenses to play certain songs as I draw. And on YouTube, I don't have to worry about that. I just get the claim after I'm done streaming, so that doesn't.
Yeah, I got that.
That's fine.
I got that with Hyles Cami. I got that immediately after it went up to YouTube. Claim for basically having the lofi hip hop in the background.
Yeah. That's basically the issue. Would be that Twitch would find that immediately, and actually, I'd like catch me on it, and I'd get in trouble. Versus like on YouTube, I just get the claim it after I'm done streaming. Which doesn't matter to me since I don't post my streams.
Right.
Catch me outside.
No.
That's an old. That's old. Wow, that's old. Never mind.
I don't think it's that old.
Hold up.
That sounds
Sorry,
so.
I don't know. What am I doing? I'm a mess.
It's okay, same.
What are we talking about, Thunderstar, the leader of the podcast?
Well,
what are we
What are the
doing?
topics? What are the points of interest? Quote unquote?
Well, originally and I think you remember this, Caleb, is that originally it was a Q&A podcast, but after doing the podcast with Cami, we were just kind of just sitting back, relaxing, just having a good time, just chatting. I was just like, that just works a lot easier.
I'm sorry I screwed up the system.
No, you actually made the system better. You made my system more easy to follow.
Okay, don't try to share it through them. Don't use Twitch's share link. Just copy the link, go to Twitter, and share it there because it's like way easier.
Yeah.
Pardon my typing. Okay, so you're thinking of more like
Just kind of, just have a good time, talk, tell stories.
tell stories. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically something similar to like what we were talking about a little bit earlier, because we were talking about this is gonna sound really weird, but we were talking about like blowing stuff up in video games because we were talking about games that we enjoyed currently, and it was like it threw me back to this one game. And Caleb, I don't know if you ever have played it before, but it was called oh gosh, what was it? Oh no, Thunder! I just forgot what the title
just
was.
had it.
No, okay.
Oh god, no, I can't remember.
It was this really, really old, like, game on crazymonkeygames.com. It's God's Playing Field. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, God's
I've
Playing
never
Field.
heard of that, but that sounds pretty fun.
Oh my gosh, I like.
Something.
It was so funny because I played it when I was in high school in my computer class because I'd finished everything super duper early, and so I just remember vividly playing it. And you basically what you do is you create all these little people, and you find different ways to just blow stuff up in the game. And the more ways you do it, the more money you make, and the more creatively you can blow stuff up.
Okay. It sounds. How many years ago was this? What year?
It wasn't too long ago because it was when I was in high school, so like 2011. 2000.
Okay.
No, that was me in middle school. Oh my god.
2011. No, I was a sophomore. I think it was a sophomore. Wait, in 2011? Well then I don't know.
I don't know. A lot of my years blend together because I did a lot of the same things. So I'm like,
Yeah, that's true. Everything just blends together over time.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember at what point in my life did time like stop feeling like I used to be able to, I think of time in my life like by years, and I could remember the years vividly, and I think school did a great job of making every year feel fresh and new and different and divided and separated and compartmentalized, however many words you want to come up with. And then I think you eventually get out of college, or you're currently in college, or you don't go to college and you just come out of high school. And I think then it starts blending together and time just becomes one continuous line with no real deviations because you're in repetition. So
God, I
you
feel
can feel
that.
like you can feel like you're stalling or you're stagnating. And I'm pretty sure that can be a really restless feeling for a lot of people.
And it can be.
What?
No, I said it can be, not Cami.
Oh, can be. Oh God.
No, I mean it can be because there
What an
was.
assertion.
After I graduated high school, I took a year to try to figure out what it was that I was going to do, and then finally got a job at the place I currently work, which is a hotel kitchen. And I started off bussing tables, and just a year later they told me, hey, we have this new position, you just gotta run food for the kitchen. Okay. A year after that, hey, to get you more hours and everything, we need to transfer you into the kitchen because the head chef wants you to be part of his team.
Ooh.
Okay, and then they told me, hey, you're the only other person that knows this area really well. We want you over there. And I said, okay. And I thought, this is a long way to go in about 3.5 years. And it was after I had shortly gotten the job that I would realize I was spending more time at my job than I was even at home.
Yeah, that's a lot. You upgraded. You jumped
You really-
several levels very quickly.
Yeah, you really did. That's crazy.
Do you like it?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. I work with a very interesting cast of characters, to say the least, and
Oh, I feel that.
it's just there's so many different people that I work with. I've seen a lot of people come and go. I've made friends with a lot of people. Even one of my bosses, I sit and there are times where I'll play games with him when we both have a day off, and
yeah, I feel that. Like where I work, I'm sort of in like an entry-level position still. I've been there for a couple of months because I started as a freelancer in a different department. But after about like a year, they actually migrated me to a different department because the freelancing stuff that I was doing with the department that I was in, they didn't really have any more projects for me, but they still really wanted me in the building. And so then I worked a couple of months as a freelancer in this other department and then became a full-time in November of last year. Yeah. But it's also really funny because the cast of people, like you said, can really change how the work environment is. And like because I have a crazy graveyard shift, it sometimes is really funny when you have like one of the people who's higher up than you coming in blasting like different 70s rock as he walks in. He's like, do you know the song? I'm like, I don't, but I love it. And so like every time he walks in, he just sees me in the corner like jamming out to it. He'll like put his iPod next to my ear and I'll just keep going.
You know,
just like,
and you really gotta love,
like that.
you know, you really gotta appreciate the people you work with. You know, you work with the people, you know, no matter what job you go into a job with, you know, people you like working with, people you don't like working with. It comes with the territory. I had worked with this guy. He was my supervisor. Wasn't originally a supervisor, but he had eventually become a supervisor when they decided, hey, we need a supervisor position for the kitchen. And I said, oh yeah, we're gonna make him the supervisor. And he and I, back when I had first started, he and I went rounds at each other because he didn't like the fact that I didn't really follow a lot of what he said because I didn't really care about what he had said because he let all that power go to his head. And yeah, I realize that. I don't know why Twitch constantly does that to me. It's, oh, you're doing this, but I'm not doing. I don't know why.
Sorry,
XCOM 2. This is a really weird game of XCOM right now. I'm telling you.
Man, I can't believe how trippy this game is. It's like it's real life.
Some real-time strategy in how to hold a competition.
The real big like storyline making decisions right there. Like the dialogue boxes aren't even there.
Right?
The most difficult real-time strategy game. Conversations with other human beings.
Oh God, how do I do it? I don't know how these buttons work. There was no tutorial for this.
Somebody help! No, but my supervisor, he was very power hungry. He was very rude to people. He made a lot of bussers, a lot of just staff just walk away crying. But the problem was that he couldn't be touched. Because he was in such good graces with the higher ups that somebody could go and bring a complaint about him to them and it wouldn't matter. Which really sucks. And when I became a member of the kitchen staff, he kind of eased up, but we still went our rounds. Well, then when I became what's called garde, which is basically, I think, French for salad maker. Wait, and
say it again?
Garde.
Yeah, I think you got it right.
I think it's French. I'm not sure.
I'm still rusty on my French for the most part, but yeah, I think you got it right.
I think so. But I made salads, I made a few appetizers, and I made desserts. That was my job as garde. And being over there, he kind of eased up a little bit more, but if I did one small, benign little thing wrong, he would come after me with hell behind him. And
what?
The problem was that he couldn't be touched with it. He was untouchable. You couldn't go after him. Somebody once took a complaint about him to, I think it was the head chef at the time, and nothing was done to it. But he made but my supervisor, or former supervisor, I should say, made that person's life a living hell to the point where they quit.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah,
that's no fun.
Oh, they were terrible. One day, I was reaching a breaking point. I had had enough. I was done. I was about to snap. And one day, I made a dish that required some small tomatoes on it. And he said, "Hey," comes over, looks at it, and he said, "You can put another one on there." And I said, "Yeah, you're right." Okay, so I look in the bowl where I was not a culinary chef. I was just kind of a banquet chef. I prepped food for banquet events like weddings, for gatherings of some form, conventions for things, buffets that we regularly host. And what's funny is that a small side note is that I never had an interest in culinary until I had gone there. Until after I became a member of the kitchen staff, which was very interesting.
Okay.
So everything that I learned within my time of being there was, well, I know all this stuff now. I could put this to use at home. And I can't remember where I put my book. I think it's still in my work bag, but my book has recipes that I've learned throughout years of being there. But
So you're saying if I wanted to hire you as a private chef, I could? Is that what I'm hearing?
Woo!
maybe. Depends what you're wanting.
That's my
I'm
next goal. That's my next goal with YouTube is just make some obscene, obtuse amount of cash so I can hire a private chef. That's my plan.
Well, I mean,
That
I'll
was the plan
try.
all
Yeah,
along.
as soon as I get there, I'm
Try.
quitting. Reach the mountaintop and you're first
I-
on the list.
My whole family always has a running gag of like not necessarily making it rich, but like every time the lottery gets big enough, we all just go, "All right, guys, we're all buying like 5 tickets. Yeah, 5 tickets. Family pool. Listen, you have to buy it before the next drawing because if you don't buy it before the next drawing, you can't be in the family pool. So if one of us wins, you're not invited."
Dang, that's harsh.
Ooh.
But
makes
there's-
sense.
it's also, yeah, it makes sense, but it's
Good
it's
diet.
also kind of like that loving kind of way.
Mhm.
Of course, you wouldn't leave somebody out in the dark, but it's one of those things of like family pool. Come on, guys, teamwork
Like,
makes
I
it.
know there are 15 of us, and Jerry over there just didn't put his money in for the week. I don't know. We just won $700 million, but screw Jerry for being apprehensive.
And we
You can
don't
see
do
everybody.
it. We don't do it with our whole extended family. It's just my immediate family of like my parents and my siblings. If we made our entire family do that, that'd be terrifying.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'd
The
do something
potential for
similar to that to my brother. I would. Oh, we won the lottery. Where's your brother? I'll have him locked outside the house. He couldn't make it. What's that banging noise? I don't know.
Dang. I don't know.
Dang, that's cold.
I'm curious how much, what is the amount of money it would take to make someone a better person just immediately?
I don't
what
think
would- I
that's
wonder what that would
possible.
be.
I think
Could
it's
you
not
hand
necessarily
someone a
making
lump
somebody a
sum?
better person. I think it's giving them the opportunity to change. It doesn't necessarily make them a better person. It just gives them the opportunity to do so.
Right.
See, I'm
Just
saying.
because you give somebody the money does not mean it'll automatically make them a better person. It just gives them the chance.
I mean, like, if you were to put if I were to put $50,000 in someone's hands, and they're just holding it, and they're frowning before because they don't have $50,000 in their hands, and then I put $50,000 in their hand, they start smiling. I'll be like, hey, that's a better person now, because he's
Ah.
see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
now
I
they're
see what you're saying.
Now they're better. $50,000, instant better person. That's the solution.
At least the thing is though is that they at least feel better.
Yeah, for the time being. If anything, the best medicine in the world is just giant wads of cash.
I feel so sad, Caleb. You know, I'm just feeling so down. Just not really feeling it.
I'm speaking for myself, not that I'm lying around with wads of
No,
cash.
you're totally fine.
I'm more or less making a joke out of money buying happiness and all that.
Oh,
business. I'm not
gosh.
even-
Oh
I'm
no,
not even
you're
remotely
totally
serious.
fair. My grandfather used to always say, "Money doesn't always buy you happiness, but my rich friends sure do have a hell of a time."
Ooh, I like that.
It does not buy you
true. Yeah,
happiness,
that's
but man, rich people have fun.
But
Will do.
you know.
Oh my god, Gus though is right. Money can buy a lot of tacos.
Oh God, you're
Yeah.
right. I would buy a boat full of tacos. No, you know what? I'm gonna live up to my word. The first thing I'm gonna do if I get a big wad of cash, I'm buying a truck full of honey buns and I'm sending it straight to you, Caleb.
Oh my gosh. If I wake up one freaking morning and there was a truck outside my dang house, and it's just a dude like, I got a truckload of 10,000 honey buns for a one. Caleb Hyles, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Where would you put them?
I don't
all?
actually know what I would do.
Oh Lord.
Where the hell would
I'd be
you
like-
put 10,000 honey buns?
You're the one who suggested it.
Yeah.
What would I do with it? I don't know what I would do with it. I would tell them you need to turn around. Here's the directions to a food bank. Go there.
Yeah.
And give me
There
a
you
second
go.
because I got to make a phone call.
There you
I
go.
have this
hop
whole-
on Discord real quick.
I'll get an angry phone call just sitting there.
I
Hey,
have
Caleb,
this
what's up?
whole-
What did you do? Oh, you got the package, did you?
Oh.
You. Hey, I didn't do it.
I have this whole convoluted plan of if I ever won the lottery. Like I don't always go out and buy tickets, but every time I do, I'm like, this will be my plan for if I get it, which is like pay everything off. I'll pay for like all my family stuff because I definitely will have plenty of money left over, and then just kind of chill.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's something I would do if, say, like, okay, here's $1 million. If I was handed $1 million, I'd use a little bit of it, pay off basically the rest of whatever I have to, and then just, all right, well, here's a little bit here, and like the rest of it, say I have quarter, 750,000. Just all right, send this all to different charities. There you go.
Aww.
Because I don't need $750,000 laying around.
How very philanthropic of you,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just
just to drop those around.
oh, yeah.
I also would be like, if I ever made it, I would be like that ridiculous tipper that like I would go to a restaurant and like sit down, get
You
myself a
would be
nice meal.
Mrs. Beast.
I would be. No, I would be that person. I would be that family from Momocon. I'd be that family that like
yeah.
would pay for people's dinners if they were nice to me.
Dang.
Oh God, I
speaking
wish
of
I could
which-
have that kind of energy.
Now, speaking of which, and this is, I was gonna say off topic, but this entire conversation is off topic.
That's fine.
There's no topic to be off of, so I should say here's another topic. That's what I should say. But and feel free to not go into any details, Cami.
Yes.
But I'm curious, how far away do you think you are, or close, however you want to answer it? Do you think you are to doing YouTube or creating or art full time, as in like in terms of money making? Like how
Oh
far away are you?
God. Okay.
Where do you think?
I honestly don't know. And because the thing is, for me, I never saw myself as being able to do it as a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I started it, it started as a passion project. I did it as a de-stressor. I did it just to entertain myself.
I understand.
And it's definitely not enough at the moment where I could sustain myself, at least
Mm-hmm.
according to where I am right now.
Yeah.
Like geographically speaking, like I can't afford it. But I can safely say it at least gives me a little bit of like pocket money, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just curious about that because I've just from times we've chatted and collaborated and looking at your channel, it's like, yeah, that's like doing well. Like
Yeah, no, I'm
that's doing well substantially and has traction and trajectory seems upward.
I know, I'm over the
consistently.
moon.
And I think, are you selling your D&D songs?
I am distributing them on music distributor stuff, yeah. Which is crazy.
When did you do that?
I started that when Maw of the King hit 100,000.
Okay, all right.
When
Wow,
that-
you were right on top of it. That's good. That's
When
good.
when it hit 100,000, because the thing is, it hit that within like a week, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, people really like this. I guess I gotta put this up now.
Did you use a sound drop DistroKid?
I used DistroKid. I was recommended DistroKid because it's a better long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Apparently.
there's a lot of different philosophies and options and opinions. I have had exhaustive conversations with Jonathan Young and a guy named Sebastian who helped with like the formation of Louder. Like it's exhaustive
Ooh.
conversations, and like there isn't a one right answer honestly on which one's better. But
Yeah.
that's cool. Have you ever thought of doing like a straight up full D&D album with like 10 songs?
I would love that if I had the time.
How long does it take you to write one of those songs normally?
It depends. It depends on the inspiration for it, and it also kind of depends on how quality I want it to be. Because even though Maw of the King is doing like the best right now, I literally made it in a day, and I used Mixcraft. I used like one instrument. I used the accordion MIDI, and I used a bunch of percussion, and then I used my own like clapping and stuff, and literally just kind of built all of it within a day. Because I wanted to tell the story of my character to this group of this campaign that was already 2 years in. That's the thing, that the character that I brought into that campaign was already 2 years going. And so I was like, well, I know she's going to be a bard. I know this. And I rolled for her history. And one part of her history is that she got eaten by a giant fish. And I was like, that's how she became famous. I went off, and my friend was dying laughing. I was like, no, you don't understand. This is so great. And like, when I have those kind of moments, I can immediately like start building something.
It's the D&D Jonah of the D&D Jonah of the whale.
Pretty much, yeah. And then there's like a couple of songs that I do actually have in my arsenal right now that either one, I want them to be better than what I can do right now. Or two, it's something that I'm not necessarily 110% happy with yet. So like,
gotcha.
One of those songs that I have right now it sounds really cool, but I want it to have a bigger sound to it.
Okay.
I know that I can't do that right now with the instruments that I have at my disposal. I just got a new mic, which I like finally bit the bullet on.
What mic is it?
It's an AT2020.
Okay, that's a good mic.
Yeah. I just got that in like a Scarlett Bullet audio interface.
Yeah. Scarlett's good. I like Scarlett.
Ooh, it's so crisp.
Well, Focusrite, but Scarlett, the
Focusrite.
Yeah, those are
good. Yeah.
That's crazy. I think I ask that question too because from everything I've seen from what you've done with your YouTube channel since I've been following, feels very akin to what I did with my channel when I started out, which was just like, I do it because I love it and I'm passionate about it, and some people see it and like it, and I just like to share what I love. So it's like, and it doesn't even mean you have to get like, I'm sure if you're the same in philosophy as I and some people I know, it's like, even if a video doesn't do quote unquote well per analytics, it's like if someone writes like a really nice or like really like related, they really enjoyed your work and felt connected to it, comment. It doesn't matter if the video has 100,000 views, a million, or like 1,000 views.
That's why I'm so
cool.
That's Hymn of the Lost for me, because Hymn of the Lost, even though I just posted it recently, I've had that song for 3 years. But Maw of the King gave me an excuse to post it. And even though it's not doing, even though it's not doing as well, I was sitting there going, wait, people actually like this? And I threw that out there, and like it did okay, like quote unquote okay, but like it did better than I expected it to. And people were actually saying like, oh, do you think you could put this on Spotify too? And I'm like, oh, people like it.
I'm saying, man, that's how it starts too. Like that's how it was when I had the viral hit in 2014 with Let It Go. Is you just get you get all of a sudden you're like, wow, I think there's at least a handful of people here that like what I do. I want to keep, I like doing it. I like performing for an audience. It doesn't matter the size of the audience. I just like performing. So you all of a sudden you have some fire under you're like, oh, okay, well someone's watching. And so you just get out there and you keep performing week in, week out. And you try all these different ideas and you're experimenting. My first 2 years of YouTube were just, at least in terms of trying to do it off in like 2014 onwards, the first 2 years were so much experimentation within doing covers and other formats, because it was just so much fun to play around with and having an audience that was like willing to see whatever I would do. And it was exciting because I wasn't caring about money at the time, right? There was no, like, oh, I'm going to make some money off of this. I'm going to make a career out of it, because I was doing college and other things at the time. So I wasn't focused on the money-making side of it. I was just focused on enjoying it, being passionate about it. And I see that like trajectory on your own channel. So I was curious to know. Well, I was just curious to know as in like what you were planning or thinking, or if you were going to keep it the way you're doing it, kind of like you'll do things like post a 50-second, joking meme video about you trying to sing the last notes of a song. No, wait, that's Bells of Notre Dame. I'm thinking of the Heart Will Go On video.
Oh, my Heart Will Go On video was just a meme. That was another one of those random projects that I was just like, I think I was in a Discord chat with another group of people. Yeah, it was another group of musicians. And not Tony. I love working with him. I have several songs that I just need to get the videos done, because he is just awesome at helping getting those instrumentals for me. I love him to bits. And like basically I was in there maybe like a week before Valentine's Day, and he had posted, "Hey, who wants to do My Heart Will Go On?" And I was like, "I'm ready." Put me in, the coach put me in, I'm ready. And so I made one version that was like actual version, and then I was like, that's not quite what I'm going for though, so you can put that on your channel, and then I'm going to make like a really hilarious version. And he was like, yes.
See, and that's what the YouTube algorithm, quote unquote, would say, that per your, like, if you were trying to streamline your channel and have the best SEO, search engine optimization numbers, and the best retention rate, and appealing to the algorithm, it would say don't do that.
Yeah,
that's
and for me, I don't care.
Yeah, there's like a part of me that's like slightly like envious is the wrong word, but I think nostalgic for that period of time where it's just like there's a lot of freedom during that period of time to just go off the rails, do what you want. But not only that, I wish that if I went back, if I were to do one thing different on my channel, it would try to better market me and my styles more than the music and the covers. So I would at least feel like I have more freedom to do something akin to what you are currently doing, which is this, you know, incredible amount of variety. But not only that, but like lengths of time that seems to ignore the algorithm, but seems to still be successful, at least from a, you know, from a channel growth point of view.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing that I do on my channel right now that I always ultimately try and focus on, because I saw it happen, because when I first started getting big, like my first big jump was with Megalovania and Undertale.
Yeah,
I was part of those like few people.
Gotta hop on that frickin' train. That
Oh
was...
no, I didn't mean to hop on that train. I was busy swimming in college. I was at a tech school trying to do like communications. It was a heck of a lot. And so I was recording on my microphone in my dorm room.
Yeah, there you go.
And like I made that lyrical version of Megalovania because I was swimming and I liked the song from the rhythm of my 1500. I liked it when I raced. I liked the music. It kept my pace going for my stroke, but it didn't have any lyrics, so I didn't know how long I was swimming for. So I made them up in practice.
Dang,
and
that's
and I was like, I like it. Yeah, I was like, I like it. I want to keep going. And so I recorded it, posted it on with the piano version, and it just exploded. But what I ended, oh my gosh, it was so fun.
I think that's like the real. Like, I love those kinds of stories and whatnot, because that's like the real passion. I feel like that's when people are able to, like, you know, a whirlwind of luck and, you know, the right timing.
It really was,
you know,
timing.
Included in it, but that's included in my statement. But with the fact that people are, that, with all that said, attracted to something like honest and genuine and like in the moment that came out of just like a love for something like practical, like, I really love the song and I want to write lyrics to it because I really love it, but I'm busy with these times. I'll find time to do it tonight. I'll just do it because I love it. And then people see it and they just hear. I don't know how you do it. I don't know what sort of osmosis or human condition like recognizes genuine things, that recognizes authentic. But I feel like with the combination of the luck and all that stuff, I feel like people just know it when they see it and hear it. Like it's that's, mind you, that's entirely anecdotal and like super like pathos.
No, you're totally
like,
fine.
I'm feeling like that. That's sort of.
And like that's also partly how I ended up meeting DJ too, because he actually asked me for the lyrics. And like what I kind of noticed in that era.
DJ Smell, right?
Yeah, DJ Smell.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know who he was at the time. There were too many people asking me for the lyrics, and I was like, sure, whatever. And he posted back to me like a month later, like, thank you for letting me use your lyrics. And I looked back at his channel and I was like, wait. And saw the Stronger Than You. And I was like, oh, that's why I know his voice.
Those were your lyrics?
Yeah, his Megalovania piano cover.
Oh. I heard that. I didn't know those were your lyrics.
Those are my lyrics.
Dude, that's crazy.
And that's the double-edged sword of Undertale that I learned. That I was not as popular as DJ, and I was not as big as DJ. Everyone came to me, the tiny channel, and said, "How dare you!"
What is that? I'm not sure what just happened here. Okay, are we getting somewhere?
anger is handled, because that's definitely a learned behavior.
Yeah, it's not even anger though. I would like look at it and I just kind of see all these awful things, and I'm like, guys, check out what someone said about me online. And then, like my team would look at it like, holy crap, are you like what?
Are you okay?
Who said that to you? And I'm like, I don't know, and I don't really care.
Dang, that's true though. I think
It's just words on a screen.
Yeah, it's true. And I think, man, I don't know what sort of like social media is so prevalent that I'm gonna be old person for like 2 minutes.
Please.
Social media is so prevalent that we need a whole new class, and I'm talking like formative, like kindergarten years, right? We need like straight up like kindergarten through 5th grade. You need a class mandatory every year. Spend 30 minutes a day or something talking about children's value as it doesn't relate at all to social media and what it's saying about being important or looking at all that. Like, I don't know what we do, but we already had it bad with television and the advent of phones and internet and advertising being so prevalent. It is now impossible. I don't even know how parents are like influential at all on children outside of just straight physiological stuff. But like beyond that, I have not a clue how you beat out the media's prevalence on creating consumers. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know. It's crazy.
It's too late for them. It's too late. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gen Zs. It's too late. You're gone.
Listen,
you're not your own person. You're not your own person. You know who you are. You're an amalgamation. You're an amalgamation of a walking Disney, Marvel, Coke consumer. That's it.
Whoa.
You're not you. You are not you. You are just a walking product consumer. That's it.
No.
I'm sorry.
I still believe. I believe in hope and pray.
You were just a walking Snapchat filtering. Pay attention to my numbers and likes, and that's my value.
Oh my God, no! But did you actually know? Okay,
late.
this is gonna sound so morbid, but it's a random fact. But like, did you know that like the next generation is actually building a calloused kind of like second bone in their neck because people are looking down so much at their phones?
I saw that with the horn in the back. I'm like,
horn in the back.
No. We can't.
Caleb, it's Elfin Lead. Guys,
No.
If that's happening, I'm out, man. I'm gone.
And I like, where's that asteroid that was coming to Earth? Where's it landing? Where is it landing?
I think it missed.
Can it go there? Oh shoot! Well,
I think it missed. Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
Just take it.
Okay.
Dang.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I still firmly believe like that there is a hope left, because I think ultimately like Gen Z is in this situation right now, but I think that we can like come back out of it, which sounds crazy.
Yeah,
We're on like a teetering point.
Yeah, I mean that was a lot of hyperbole and conjecture.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm like seriously thinking that children have no personalities and that kids can't develop.
Caleb sitting over here like, where are the kids these days? I'm just sitting there looking at their animatronics.
Dude, I was watching this is gonna sound like real old, but Overwatch League is something I watch all the time. It's an esport that streams on Twitch. But they partnered up with like ABC and Disney to air some of their games, some of the matches on television, cable.
Oh my God.
I still have cable. My wife really likes having cable on. She likes HDTV. It's just great, and that's fine, whatever. But the point being is I will purposefully watch the games on Disney XD because I want to support like the Overwatch League being streamed to cable, which is like really old. It's like I'm supporting cable. I still believe it's really stupid.
Well, thank God for supporting my industry.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it. But no, it's funny though when you're watching Disney XD, like 60% of their shows are just video gaming personalities playing video games. Seriously,
That's
like the
so
stuff you
weird.
watch on YouTube, that's their programming. That is what their programming
weird.
is. And their breaks, they're like minute-long breaks between commercials, is like a Jacksepticeye sort of character playing like a goofy game, making noises and observational humor. It's crazy.
That's so weird.
That's on cable now. You can't even, like, if you chose to do it on YouTube, that's one thing. But cable is making that, at least Disney XD's made that decision for you. It's so cheap for them too.
My God. Well, yeah, no, they could probably even do it as a loss. Like, I mean, that's what they're doing with their streaming service.
Really?
Their new streaming program, the Disney one.
Yeah,
They're doing,
Disney
like-
Plus.
Oh, you mean Disney Plus?
Yeah, Disney Plus. That
Oh.
that streaming program of like all the new shows and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to start that at a loss
Oh.
because they know people are going to buy it. They know that
Dang.
enough people over time are going to either get the subscription or know people who got the subscription, and it's just going to build, and they're like, it'll end up overtaking it. Which set like,
No, I mean interrupt you. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. It's
Yeah.
just like one of those things.
They're
Oh,
gonna. They
thanks.
partnered with Hulu. And
Oh,
they're gonna sell
yeah.
Hulu with it. That was what sold me on it because I was like, I'm not buying this. I don't care. I don't care about
Mhm.
Disney shows. I don't care about Marvel movies. I'll go and see them, and that'll be that. But then they said, oh well, we're just doing a partnership with Hulu, and you just need to give us like a couple more dollars, and then you get Disney Plus. And I was like, oh okay, that was a good move because
And that's how they do it.
I'll probably be willing to pay the extra $3. I mean, I already buy Hulu Plus like the version that doesn't have ads. So
Mhm.
Right.
just an extra
And,
$3
like-
to ask me, I'll do it.
And like for me, who primarily uses Netflix, I have a Hulu account, but I don't primarily use it. For me, who loves Disney like the back of my hand and always loves watching the old Disney movies,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that it is paired with Hulu, a streaming service that I'm already familiar with, I'm like, oh, I can just go do that. Like that's how they get you. It's all a trap.
This is how they win.
This is how they win.
This is how we get bought. We don't if I want one message to be pulled from this podcast, it's that you are not your own person.
You can be bought.
You are not your own person. You never have been. And you
No,
won't be no
I
matter
still
what you
believe.
do. No matter how you try. You are a product
You
of the
still
products you
believe in
consume.
individuality.
It's too late, guys.
No.
That sounds like lyrics to a song.
I still believe in individuality.
Yeah, it sounds like lyrics to a song.
You know, and
No one else gets to take it. Hold on. I'm gonna get
She's written it down. It's copyrighted.
Mine now.
For real
Go for
though,
it.
in a somewhat serious hot take, and I don't mean
Serious
just.
take.
I'm not talking about like Coke and all that other stuff, but I'm talking like how much. And this isn't me like I'm not making any assertions here. I'm posing the question.
Mhm.
How much of our personality in the past like decade, or even 5 years, is built around like who we are, built around causes that we believe in, and what we associate with, like that like how much of us is built around that.
That is a good
Just a thought.
take.
The thought, because I see that all the time on social media, like Twitter, even Facebook. Like, there's a lot of aligning oneself to causes and just whatever it might be as part of your personality. Like, it's who you are. Like that's your personality. Is I protect the environment. That's me. I am the environmentalist. You know, I mean, that's I think that's been going on for years. I don't want to talk about like that's been going on for a long time. I just find it curious that there seems to be a tribalism of sorts of people like trying to find who they are, so they'll try to find it in causes and tags and it's interesting the path. It's interesting humans' desire to find identity and how they get there. It's fascinating.
It really is.
Yeah, I just went like I don't know. I was got briefly existential for a second. The human condition is interesting to ponder over in my
No,
quiet
you're not
moments.
wrong.
In my
It's
quiet
one of
moments.
those things that you just kind of sit there and like, huh, this is actually interesting to me. Does anybody else feel this way?
It's like, who am I? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, who am I? Right? All right.
Right, and you know, the thing about like social media is it's for some people it's so difficult to try to find, like, you know, some people wanting to try to find an identity on the internet for anything, be it YouTube, be it Twitch, be it, you know, Instagram, anything, you know, just trying to get that nowadays is so difficult because so many people do the same thing to do it, but what can people do to, you know, make themselves stand out?
There we go. Okay.
I think.
Welcome back.
Oh well.
Yeah, sorry, my internet went futsy for a second, but I was gonna actually counter what you said of like within the past 5 years of like aligning your personality to like what you do. Like I would actually counter that and say that a lot of people have been doing that forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
I
is-
backtracked a little bit. I was like, I think that's all the time because I think you're.
That is all the time, and especially it can be very adamant depending on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
It can be
Yeah.
very vocal.
Well, and it's also is it such a like, and that's the other thing I'm sitting. It seems weird that because I think ultimately the search for identity is rooted in a desire to belong. And you're trying to find a way to belong to something and feel a part of something and feel a value in that you're valued by somebody.
Oh,
and
I could.
But I'm like, is that so wrong? Like, because I'm sitting like, what's the problem with it?
I would say
like,
that could be wrong, bad, depending on what you're using to identify yourself with. Because if you're using, this is only just because of a personal experience kind of thing.
Yeah.
If what you're using to identify yourself is detrimental to your health, either mentally or physically, then that becomes an issue. Especially if those people who are in that group see what you're doing as something to be proud of, or something to be like satisfied with, of like, look at what you're doing, you're working so hard. Which can either be like, yes, awesome, you're like achieving the goal, or you're not achieving the goal, but the struggle is just as good, which can be very bad depending on how you're doing.
That's fair, and I think that makes perfect sense. If it's detrimental to your health and mentally, physically, like that's not.
Yeah, like I identified so long as a swimmer, and that became an issue when I started having panic attacks in the water.
Really?
Like that's kind of it was bad.
Like the identity as a swimmer.
I identified as a competitive swimmer. I did not identify as a creator, which is also why I kept my YouTube stuff on the DL so long.
So could you make the argument then that an identity has both the negative in that sense, at least for the both you're talking about, or for both situations, is like you identify with being a competitive swimmer, and whenever swimming became anxiety inducing, at least for that one moment, was it like conflicting, because it was like, well, I'm a swimmer. I'm supposed to be in the water. I'm supposed to not have a panic attack in the water. And then you have a turmoil in your mind of like reconciling, well, I am this, but I'm not operating as I should, considering I'm this. And then with a YouTuber, it's like, well, I'm not a creator. I don't identify with that. That's not who I am. So the value of what I've created isn't
it's not what I'm supposed to be. It's not even like it's not what I can be. It's like what I'm not supposed to be.
There's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what the problem was with it.
That's the problem. Is that I didn't think I was supposed to do that, because the world that I grew up in didn't see that potential in a way. Like they see it now, which great, but when I first did it, it was a very different environment, and I grew up in a very different environment. That didn't necessarily see that there could be a potential of like, oh, you could go into like doing drawing and like animating, and you could build that craft. And then like I had sort of this other thing of like everybody else where I grew up respectively all had their own cool thing they did. Of like athletic wise.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. So it can what you identify with may not necessarily always be the best fit for you. And it can still be a good fit for you if you find a different way to implement yourself into it. Like I always thought that I was failing because I wasn't fast enough. But what I didn't find out until like practically the end of my swimming career is the fact that I was pushing myself so hard and being sort of like that model of struggle. In the sense of like, I wasn't the fastest, but I was kicking my butt to make sure everybody knew that I was like there to support no matter what they were doing in and out of the water.
Yeah.
I actually ended up being awarded for that at the end of my career, which I didn't even realize until I kind of had to rewire my brain.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Dang. Huh. Well, I'm
I can go into so much detail on that, but there's.
Well, I mean, it's Thunderstar's podcast, but
so
brought us on, so that's you can take control.
As I said in the chat, kick back, relax, enjoy conversations, have a good time, discuss things. I'm just the guy that brings everything together.
Well, this is like one of those things that definitely is weird to talk about too, because it was such a weird experience going through it, like growing up, especially on the fact of like I wasn't. There was no verification of that struggle either, in the sense of like, this isn't good for you. It was we recognize this struggle, but keep going.
Yeah, you just had to suck it up.
Yep.
There was no other. There wasn't like getting out of it. There was just getting through it.
It was just getting through it.
And you grew up in Georgia, right?
I grew up in South Carolina.
Okay, well that's I'm like that's the South. You grew up in the South.
Yes, I grew up in South.
That's a southern. I grew up in Alabama. That's a southern philosophy. You get over it, you get through it. You don't pansy out. You get through it.
We don't cry them sissy tears.
You get through it. There is like it's not I don't know what like freaking osmosis like philosophy for the South is, but it's like you just got to get through it. Like it's like a phrase. Just get through it. It's not even get like remove it, go away from it. Nope, get through it. Same. Oh my gosh, so many times you just want to escape from something. Just get out of it.
God.
I need to get rid of the southern accent I've put on.
And that's southern accents aren't that bad.
Came out like out of nowhere. Like nope.
I think it's because you're with me. It's because you're with me. I'm drawing out that southern. Yes.
You're talking about the South, and you're talking about something growing up that I've like. Oh yeah, that sounds like a southern philosophy. It just creeps out.
Yep. It just it crawls out of that headspace.
Well, then there's a thing that's not controlled necessarily by corporate media is the stick-to-itiveness that's come out of an upbringing and just not escaping it, not leaving it, just struggling, struggling through it. Like even mentioning like people writing mean comments or saying mean things, and you kind of laugh at it because it's like it's not saying you weren't deprived of like learning empathy, not at all, or like learning to be sad about it. It was like literally it's like struggle.
Yeah,
pain,
it's that
things. Just get through it.
Seeing that is recognizing you are now struggling. It's like, ooh, this is something I'm familiar with.
Oh, I know struggle. I thrive in struggling. I'm good
I know that struggle.
It's interesting. Slight notice. I noticed here that Noboku Zero is basically saying, he grew up in Nebraska. Believe me, Zero, I'm with you the entire time because I've lived in Nebraska all my life, and I literally know nothing but corn. I could make at least 6 dishes out of corn. That's all I'm saying. Maybe more if I learned a little bit.
I can't type the Boston version. It's too rude. It's good.
No, ironically enough, though, thinking of that, like just going through the struggle, I think that's also why I kind of like haven't thought of YouTube as being sort of my passion project, because they, like you said, sometimes you really, really want to escape. And I think for me, that was what YouTube was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wholeheartedly.
Because if you go back on my channel, I remember so vividly, and it still kind of happens. It actually hasn't happened yet this year, but every year around like August or September, there's one video, and it's an event video. Always goes up. Whether or not it's public, we don't know, but there's always one every year.
And did I just miss that sentence? What are you talking about? Like
I'm talking. I went back a little bit to what you were saying about the struggle and wanting to escape.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's partly why I think I have never thought of YouTube as being like the next step for me, because it started for me as an escape.
Okay.
And that's where I got to like escape and venting, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I make vent videos sometimes every year around this time.
Venting videos. I thought you said there's an event video that
no,
comes
venting.
out. I'm like, am I supposed to know this event? I was like, I don't know this event. I'm like,
Caleb,
sorry,
you're not a dedicated subscriber if you don't know my event video.
Dude, so many conventions. So many you don't know my event video. That's funny. So many conventions I go to, and people get so like upset at themselves when they're like, I haven't watched you in so long. I'm like, dude, there's so many entertainment options. Please don't be upset at yourself. Even upset at yourself. Just don't waste your energy. Don't waste your time. Like I release a cover every week for the past 4 years, 52 weeks a year. Like, don't bother. Like, don't be upset. Are you kidding me? Like, I miss when 12-song albums come out from my favorite bands like 5 full months later, and they only release those once every 2 years. So don't be upset that you missed my once a week for the entire year upload, for a month. It is not a sin.
Oh my god, I haven't seen your video in 24 hours. I'm so sorry. I'm not a real fan.
Like, I don't have a currency that I keep up with, like a chart of what real fans look like or supporters. Like, no, I don't think anyone does.
What do they really look like?
I don't even keep up with that. Like, I couldn't even imagine. If you've watched my video one time, I'm grateful. But then we're worldwide. You only need a handful. You only don't need many. You're worldwide.
Oh my gosh. I think more than anything, just having people recognize like what you have done is like so cool.
Yeah.
That's oh gosh.
It's
God,
weird.
do you remember when I first walked up to you? I was a nervous wreck.
I don't. If you were, I didn't recognize it.
Aw, well that's
I
good.
did. Yeah, it wasn't.
It means it worked.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. I'm pretty starstruck still by people. Like when you go into when you're a guest, quote unquote, and you go into the green room and you see people that you admire, and that is a reaction and behavior you have to learn how to handle and control is when meeting people of repute that you value or just of well-known repute. Like when I went to Disney's animation studios and was brought in there after Let It Go, that was just invited by a guy, one of the guys working there, and
what?
just like passed by, and it was like he froze, and it's like, oh, that. And I didn't know who he was at the time, but then I was told after the fact, so I had like, retrospective like starstruck when I was told, oh, that's Alan Menken who passed by. That's the guy who wrote Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. And I was like, oh, he wrote it? I was like, dang, that's impressive. I was like, it's like a cool moment to be in that same room with him. But you have to learn. You have to learn, because there's still people I meet all the time in those green rooms that are just like, wow, you did this and you did that, and like you've shaped a lot of my childhood with the characters you played or the show you created. Weird. It's weird. You gotta learn it. You gotta learn it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I think I had the fortunate happenstance of being able to kind of learn that a little earlier-ish on, because when I was swimming, like, especially during Olympic years, I was qualifying for higher end events. And when you qualify for the higher meets, especially closer to Olympic time events and stuff, there were more of like the bigger swimmer names there. So like I've met Aaron Pearsall. I went to a swimming camp with Ryan Lochte. I've met Michael Phelps. Who else have I met? Oh gosh. I remember her name and I don't know why I'm getting a blank right now. Natalie Koff. I can't remember her name. Wow.
She's listening right now and she's offended.
Natalie Coughlin.
This is how you are not a good fan. This is how to be not a good fan.
She just has a weird last name, and I wanted to be 110% sure it was Coughlin. But
you have to hit that at the end. That was impressive.
Thank you. But throughout my career, I've been able to meet them for whatever reason, and so I kind of learned a little bit to work around that, especially when I have to focus on my own events too. And I was like, they have their own events they're swimming. Don't freak out. Don't freak out.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He's in the same lane as me. Don't freak out.
No pun intended. You have a whole pool of celebrities that are like big to you and important to you, and that have like, oh, when you transition over into, the cartoon area of things, it's like, oh, well, I've met Natalie. Like, this isn't even.
Listen, I had Natalie Coughlin stay at my home. It's fine.
Like, I'm not even bothered. We're like, who are you? Like, what'd you do?
Off, you have no meaning to me. No.
Did you do 120 minutes in the 200 meter? I don't think you did. I have no idea if that's even impressive or impossible.
I don't know.
Say it one more time for me.
Did you do 1 minute 20 seconds in a 200 meter? I don't think so.
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah,
well, actually, it might be possible for a guy. It might be possible for a guy, but I highly doubt it. It's like that's
as good as he was, like from your perspective, or is that like blown up?
Oh no, he's one of the best swimmers
historically in the world. I'll take your word.
Like there is some history there, but like, and he's also, I will say right now, he's doing so much better now that he's actually retired, which is so. I'm so glad that he's doing so much better, because there were a couple of years where it was a little sketchy, but for many different reasons. And that's also like, swimming is such a high intensity sport. And not only that, but being at the level that he was and being that historical figure, he's won the most Olympic medals out of anybody in the world. Like, that's insane. He's won so many events.
That's a title to wear.
That is a title. It's not a title to wear. I always feel like it's a title to bear.
Oh, yeah, I feel that. That's cool. That's a good one. There's a lot of responsibility in that.
It is. And like, sometimes there are falters, but ultimately, as long as you come out of it better, than during it. I feel like that's the biggest important thing. And he is doing so good right now. I'm so happy.
That's cool. You know, people really talked about like, man, I want to be on the Michael Phelps diet where he's like ate like 14
No, you
pancakes in the
don't.
morning. Well, I'm like, okay, well, get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and start swimming like for the next. Okay, then you can eat 14 pancakes.
I need to get back into working out a little bit more because I used to do like 20,000 yards a day, and that was just me.
Lord, 20? No, wait.
Yeah, I do like.
20,000. That's like 100 yards. That's like a football field length, but like 20 times.
Yeah, so I would swim. I like basically
Actually more than 20
it'd be
times.
anything from like
200
16 grand to 20 grand a day, and because there'd be like 2 practices on 3 days of the week.
No,
So Monday, Wednesday,
no.
Friday, I'd have.
You are not swimming the length of 200 football fields.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Or I was.
That's apparently a thing. Okay, well now hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Those are really only special days. Those are really only special days. And like I said, I'm not doing it all at once. Those days are 2-day practices. There's a morning practice and an afternoon practice.
Yeah, but that's still like, so you only have like realistically have like 12 to 14 waking hours in a day. Like, that's all you're doing. Like 1 hour eating, and then I'm swimming for the rest of those like 7. And then the other, like, so wait, but then like, would a dude would have to be doing more, right? Like that,
I mean, it depends. It depends on what your events are. The reason I was doing so much yardage, respectively, it also depends on what kind of exercise you want to do and what distance you're going. Like I was a distance swimmer, so of course I have to be able to endure high levels of yardage. A mid-distance swimmer needs to be able to do a little bit of both, so their practices won't be as long. They won't respectively in yardage, but there'll be a little bit more intensity. And then sprinters have very high intensity workouts, but they're not necessarily high in distance, like high in yardage. And then it also depends on the equipment you're using. I didn't use a lot of equipment, so I didn't have to spend time like getting my fins on, getting the paddles on, or anything like that. But the sprinters were not doing 3,000s for time.
See, I can't even, if I were to have to be in the male class, where I would gather it'd be around that distance swimming, if not higher in terms of distance. I can't even gather doing 1,000 yards swimming, much less 20,000 yards swimming. That's like a superpower.
It's like running. It's very much like running in the way that it's aerobic.
Then I certainly couldn't run 20,000 yards. Like, you can forget it. Swimming,
no.
not close. Running, oh boy, no.
Running, I'm gonna be over here.
No,
oh God. And also, like, in the way I'm saying that though, the more that you do it, the longer you can go for. And when I was swimming when I got to the point in college, I had already been swimming competitively for about like 10, 11 years. So my body was so accustomed to doing like relatively decent yardage that I was able to amp it up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, I'm not even, I'm ignoring the fact that there's literally like a decade's worth of training that gets that. You don't just hop in the pool and you're like mildly in shape and you're like, well, go swim 20,000 yards. Like,
not with that attitude.
That's I feel like, or you'll like, I get to yard 8,000 and would be needing someone to pull me out of the pool. Like,
no, that's fair. There are practices.
No.
Yeah.
I could not do that.
There are practices that are like maybe 6. Like, I think one of the worst practices I've ever had in my life was it would always either be the 3,000 for time or 10 400 IMs, which were always not fun.
That sounds like someone like somehow shoved the disdain I have for math and calculators into swimming, and that would just work.
Oh yeah, no, sometimes the practices get really complicated. One of my personal favorites was Descend to Hades. So
what a name. What a fun name.
Yeah, because you
fun swimming name.
What a great name to swim to, you know, just we're gonna descend to Hades. Heart. Wanna run that one by me one more time.
You basically started with 100 at 2 minutes. And you dropped a second off of each 100 until you physically could not make the time interval anymore. So the next 100 would be on 159, then 158, then 157, and you just kept going until you couldn't do it anymore. And then you did it with 75s on a 130 interval. And then you do 129, 28 until you can't do it anymore.
Dude, that's the worst thing that my physical trainer tells me. Whenever she says, okay, go till you can't anymore, I'm like, I'm going to stop way sooner than the noise. You would have just given me a number. I'm going to stop way sooner. Like, oh my gosh, wow, that's incredibly impressive. And like man, you got to love swimming though. Like you have to love swimming. There's not like
you really do. And when I started, I really did love it.
But then you used to? That was past tense. Do you not love swimming anymore?
I mean, I'm trying to find the love for it again. Like when that's a whole can of worms. You just opened up the labyrinth.
Became YouTube, like for me in some cases. Like it's like you loved it. You start out, you loved it.
Oh
and
no.
As time went on. Not saying I don't love it, but you just have to, like, other stuff comes up. Like you were talking about your swimming, like other stuff comes up, things happen. It's like, oh, maybe it's not like the same anymore.
Yeah, it definitely changed a lot, and I think it was also like right now there's that like lingering fear with the fact that I had like those asthmatic panic attack episodes in the water. I have that lingering fear of when I get back in the water, it's going to happen again.
So wait, like that, did you have asthma before? Like
no,
you had asthma before?
Nuh-uh. I did not have asthma or anything of that kind. It developed around my junior year of high school.
It's weird. I have asthma, so I understand, but that's like I hadn't heard of in all my years of honing it that it develops. I'm sure it can. I
mean, it's the whole issue with it is that, you know how I talked about struggle?
Yeah.
I never really got a formal like diagnosis of what the heck was happening to my body. But like it started, I remember so well, like after I had gotten really sick one time, I was like sick for 2 days, and then I came back to swim, and then like over the span of that next like 2 weeks, I kept on having more and more difficult time in the water, up until the point where it was like we were just finishing up a warm-up, and I was sitting there like holding my chest and crying, and one of my friends looked at me and was like, "You need to get out of the water." And I was like, "I'm fine." And they're like, "Get out of the water. That's not okay." And so that's when I first realized there was something wrong.
Did it just come on? Were there any thoughts that came out of that, or did it just all of a sudden happen to you, like just a feeling, but no real like materialized thought?
When it first started, I was like, I guess you could say that I was nervous because I wasn't sure what was happening to me, and I wasn't sure what was going on. But then I had the double-edged sword of like, oh, it's okay. Like you can just keep going. Like we'll figure out what it is. Just keep going. And it's like, okay, I can keep going. And by not being able to do what I was able to do before, and because I said before, I placed my value in the speed that I had and the points that I could get to my team, and like how good of a swimmer I was.
Yeah.
Not being able to do what I was able to do before, I started thinking, oh no, I'm not fulfilling what I was supposed to do. I am letting my team down. And then that just created this endless spiral. And it got to the point,
Okay, so, but the initial incident was a complete out of nowhere, out of the blue.
The initial was like, basically, I think the catalyst was when I got that really bad sickness. Something messed up in my system when I got really, really sick.
And it happened before you got in the pool, or like got in the water.
Yeah.
You got in the water with that sickness. And did you know you were sick?
Well, like that day was a whole smorgasbord of traumatic experiences. So that whole, like the whole time I was in there, it was a day where I was quote unquote the only miler on my club team. So my coach had me on everybody's recovery day, had me doing like broken 1,000 for time. And so it just like I was already like emotionally drained. I was already feeling a little bit sick, and I just fell apart that one day. And then like following that day, it started getting worse.
So physically fell apart.
Yeah.
I mean, emotionally probably followed, but like
emotionally and physically fell apart.
So she had you filling the roles of those who weren't there. He. Sorry. There's my assumption, assuming a swimming coach would be a female. Okay. So
well, my female coach would come later.
Okay. So you were very overworked that day.
I was very overworked that day. And I think it really, like, what I could see happening is that maybe it messed up the way I breathed. which is not good when you already don't have a
No.
lot of time to do that.
Yeah. There's that. I imagine. I'm surprised that he did that. Put you on that many in a single day.
Oh yeah, that happened for like a couple of weeks. It's just like that particular day.
Oh, okay. So that particular
That particular day was just bad, but I had been doing that for a couple of weeks of no recovery.
Oh, okay. So it might have just been like it just was probably a buildup then, right? Like
Yeah,
just
it was
doing
probably
it for so long. Eventually, your body just couldn't keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't produce it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think if you know, mind you, my limited knowledge of the situation and what you're telling me, like, is it, if you can state it right now, kind of like break it down like that and reconcile that, probably a lot of at least the beginning of the situation, beginning of the starting to struggle with swimming came from like a very physical place, like a physical, like recognizable, like, oh, this is why it happened and led to it. What's the stepping or like the stopping block? I'm trying to figure out the term. Like, what's the thing that's keeping you from kind of re-embracing swimming then, with the knowledge that at least you have a feeling of what was the problem?
The issue became is that it wasn't entirely physical once I started hitting that point of I am not able to do what I'm supposed to in the water. When it became when it got to that point of like I am failing, it started to happen before, like that feeling started to happen before I even got in the water. It would start with like, what if it happens again? So it creates that anxiety of, oh, what if it happens again? And as soon as I started feeling that physical feeling, my mental fight or flight would start going off of, here it is, it's happening again. And even if it wasn't entirely, it would set it off. And that's why I had an issue diagnosing it too, because it got to a point where I wasn't sure whether it was physical or mental.
Oh man. Oh golly.
Oh yeah.
That sounds incredibly frustrating and paralyzing.
Yeah, no, there would be like, I'm so sorry. This is getting really like.
I'm asking. I'm inviting.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I just remember there'd be like some days where I'd like get out of the water during meets. I'd swim the event and then I'd get out and I would just lay on the dock, like on the pool deck, and I just lay there trying to get air into my lungs.
Wow.
Just on my back, and the health trainer would come over and check on me. The coaches would come over and check on me, and I'd be like, "I'm okay. Just let me get some air."
Wow.
There was one.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
You were
fine.
saying another story.
There was one time where they like to take pictures at the meets. There was one guy who came over and took a picture of me while I was having this episode.
Oh no, that's probably not a very flattering picture.
It was not flattering, but I made it flattering by giving him a thumbs up.
There you go.
I'm okay.
Struggle. Can't appear to be struggling. I'm not struggling. I know what you're talking about. That's crazy. So you would literally, even if you were mentally, like one part of the mental game is like, all right, I'm freaking out, I'm causing it. I don't know if it's physical or whatnot, but then the other part of the brain, the more habitual, learned behavior of, well, you're struggling, this is what you know, you got to still do this, you got to get through it. Was like, all right, I'm getting in the water no matter what, like I'm going to get in there, so your breathing's worse, everything's worse.
Oh yeah, everything just falls apart.
I still got to do it, I'm still going to struggle, I'm still going to do it even though I'm going to struggle. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I don't know what I mean. So eventually, though, because here we are, eventually it seems as though the struggling and the desire to push through it struggling stopped. You did eventually stop.
Because the reason I stopped, though, was because I was released from the contract that I had provided. Because you can only swim for 4 years in college.
That's true. Yeah, if on the team,
speaking.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was done swimming, that was it. I did not touch the water. I have not touched the water respectively or consistently, I should say, in like 3 years.
Wow. So like as soon as the obligation to the team ended.
Yep. As soon as that was over, I was done.
You didn't seek it out.
I did not seek it out again until like 2 years after.
Huh. So 2 years after, so have you done anything since?
I've swam a little bit. I haven't done it consistently because there's just an issue of trying to find time to do it again.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not the same swimmer I was in college, so there's that sort of learning curve. But what I loved about it the most is that I could just kind of like not worry about speed, not worry about anything, just kind of put my head underwater, take all the sounds away from the world, and just kind of zone out for 30 minutes to an hour. And that's what I enjoyed from the beginning of that time too. I used to like daydream when I was in practice. I like I said, I would listen to music, try and get my pace for my strokes that way. And I would listen to different songs according to like the different workout.
So creativity would often blossom in the middle of this activity that you enjoyed, that you're passionate about.
Yep. That's how Megalovania happened. And so that's like, I want to try and find that again.
But that was also when you're doing college too. You didn't have you may have had a job, but it wasn't.
I was a full-time student.
Okay, yeah.
So I was doing my 18 to 20 hours of school. I was doing 20 hours of swimming. That didn't include going on travel trips on swim meets. That also didn't include the volunteer work that we had to do as varsity members of the college teams. And it also didn't include the mandatory tutoring time that I had to have.
Oh, Lord. Wow.
Yeah.
What college did you go to?
I went to the Georgia Institute of Technology.
Okay. That's Georgia Tech?
Yes.
Okay, so you're on the swim team for Georgia Tech?
Yes.
Like collegiate, like
yes.
ACC?
Yes.
Is it ACC, right?
Yes, it is ACC.
Oh, dope. That's dope.
I got my Letterman jacket still. I got my ring still.
That's cool. No, that's cool. So then you like competing?
I do.
So did you like have a competitive spirit, as in like losing stuff? Or were you like, it's what is?
I started with a competitive streak, but at the end of the day, as long as I had fun with it, I was fine.
Dang.
Like I had a competitive streak for a little bit, but I kind of learned, especially after having that sort of like crazy experience of like, it's not always about winning. It's about support, like getting, like initially I learned that it wasn't necessarily winning. It was about getting points to support the team. You didn't have to be the fastest. You just had to be fast enough. And then I started not being fast enough. So then it became, okay, how can I support my team in a different way? And that's where like becoming sort of that I'm going to be your teammate in and out of the water and struggle with you sort of became my like bread and butter.
Dang. Do you keep up with any of your team? Do you like follow them or like?
I follow them on Instagram, and we always have a team reunion every year.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I keep in touch with them from time to time.
Did y'all ever win a tournament or place? Or go to the
we should have won one, but we should have won one, but there was an issue at the hotel that the girls were staying at, and they all ended up getting sick.
Oh.
It was just a mess.
Oh man! So did you win because obviously they have the NCAA tournament, and then they have the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Like, did you win any of those or place in them or anywhere?
The teams placed respectively. I don't think we ever won an ACC tournament. I think the guys got close. At least while I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. That's cool. I've been in like sports my whole life, and I also when I was working sports production, the very last job I did was an entire week of the SEC tournament for men and women's swimming.
Ooh!
I did that entire event.
You know some of the language. Some
of it. Don't like you've been mentioning like meter IO4. Like I didn't. None of that. All that went over my head. But I was there. I'm trying to remember exactly what I was doing. I was like reading off rosters or something like that.
Probably like during the finals, you were probably reading off who was in what lane.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was neat, and it also paid very well because it was every day and it was for hours.
Swim meets are the worst to sit and watch. I'm so sorry.
I was deceptively on my laptop off to the side. I had multiple things, so I was doing YouTube planning and working while I was there at the swim meets. So I kept myself busy with other projects while I was doing that, and that's probably what I would go back to do if YouTube fell out. I would go back and do sports production. Nice. I enjoyed it, and it was easy. I understood it. I like sport. So I very easily got behind it. Now swimming was over my head. Diving was especially over my head.
Oh, I
Because,
love
like,
diving though.
It was like, oh, the person got there first, they win. But it was like diving. I was like, wow, they all look incredible, and every single one of these looks equally as impressive. I don't know how you're grading these guys because these all look like 10s. Like,
I only started learning a little bit about how that all works because like our swimmers and divers got along really well, and so like we would all watch the divers compete from like time to time, and we'd see kind of like how it all works, and the divers would be like, okay, like that person on that twist, they didn't hug their arms as close to their chest. They could have gotten more points if they kept themselves closed up a little bit more. And when you hit the water, you actually don't start with your hands pointed. You have to hit the water with your hands flat so that it creates this hole for your body to go in, which limits the splash.
That's crazy.
Huh.
Yeah.
We all learn something new every day.
They all look good.
They really do, though.
I'd be the worst judge.
Good luck.
10s. Everyone gets 10s, except for the one due to like body flops, and it's like, it's like a flop.
That's gotta hurt, though.
You already get points for the fact that you jumped off like a 30-foot tall board into water and then hit it with your full body, and I'm like, that's already at least get a 10 for effort and like for enduring that pain. That's some Adonis qualities there.
Yeah.
That's gotta hurt though, hitting, especially at that height. Hitting
it's a brick wall.
Well, as long as you, like I said, as long as you start with your hands flat.
No, I mean, like
it actually creates that little hole.
Like pure body slamming the water.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a lot of surface area when you land, like you don't pierce it and you don't break that wall.
Oh no, that's
if you don't break it, you're screwed.
You're hitting a wall. That's why people die when they fall off bridges. It's because they're not breaking the water before they hit it. What they tell you to do.
Hit it from 10 meters. It's
good lord.
Ooh.
No, what they tell you to do when you're falling off a bridge, by the way, here's a little tip for the layman's out there. When you're falling off a bridge, if you have anything in your pocket at all, you need to pull it out and like throw it at the water before impact as best as you can, like a little off to the side, because you're try to do the lane you're talking about. Get your hands in first, because you're trying to break the water, cut down the surface area. You don't want to spread your arms out and catch as much as you can, because that's just going to be hitting a wall. You gotta pierce through it. It's going to hurt anyway, but you got to pierce through it. Otherwise, it's going to be injuries all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that partly why, like, when you see everybody jump off, like, bridges in the movies, they, like, go flat, they, like, put their hands close to them?
Think about that. I didn't even they have those scenes that, like, they, like, spread eagle, like, straight up. They're, like, embracing the water. I didn't even think about that. Huh.
Yeah.
That was, like,
there are a lot of movies where they, like, start with, like, their hands crossed and, like, all that stuff. I remember vividly, the one I can think of off the top of my head is Avatar.
Oh, don't ruin anything for me. I haven't seen it yet.
The first, like, when we were talking about the whole diving thing, the first thing I can think of was National Treasure.
Oh yeah, National Treasure is a good one too, where Nicolas Cage, like, is like, I'm taking option number 3.
I'm taking door number
3. He, like, leaps off. Yeah, he does that same sort of, like, military dive-in.
How do y'all just recall that to memory? It's been literally 2 decades since the movie came out. You can't just call that.
Okay, but no, for me, I watch old movies on Netflix when I'm working, because I remember what happens in them, and that's one of my go-to movies.
Oh, National Treasure is such a good movie.
That's funny.
It's on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah, we play this game at my job every once in a while. Only on days where we have just a lot of free time to kill. Basically, okay, somebody starts with a movie. Say, like, okay, like National Treasure. We'll start with National Treasure. Okay. Person that goes next, you gotta think of a movie that starts with either the beginning letter for, like, N or the end letter with E. And you just gotta keep going. See how far you can go. And it's a very fun game, and one of my coworkers said, I'm turning that into a drinking game. Looked at him and said, alright, you have fun with that.
No, that sounds like fun though.
Yeah, what was a question I had or thought I had? Not to just like interrogate Cami, but I was just
dude, I totally love this. I love talking about
I was just curious.
Like, again, I was like sitting there apologizing because I wasn't sure like if y'all were interested in this. I love talking about like all this technical stuff that happens.
I've literally just been sitting here listening and enjoying everything. For a brief moment, I forgot there was a podcast.
It's like, oh, we're live.
I was like,
oh yeah,
God,
hi,
I'm
people.
live. This is my podcast. Wait a minute. I feel like I should be interacting with this more.
Okay, well then I remember the question I had, which by the way, probably 20 minutes. I didn't not to completely cut the party short or like
no, you're
or
fine.
say you have to stop it if I go, but just as an FYI,
yeah.
I had some people come over.
I think that'd be like a first stopping point anyway. So like.
Yeah, we've also been going at this for almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen some of your podcasts. They can go like 3 hours. Like,
I don't think any of my podcasts have hit 3 hours yet.
You get there.
I get up there. I get up there a little bit. I try to keep it in a reasonable time frame.
I think our podcast, the first one we did, was an hour and 51.
I'm checking. I am checking.
When I usually stream, I usually just go like 2 hours. That's usually my like energy stopping point.
Yes, at that point, I'm like, all right.
Cami and I's was an hour and 28 minutes. The second one was 2 hours, and Caleb, yours and I's was an hour 51.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like 2 hours is the good. Yeah.
But I was curious, and it's like a good, not final question, but the thought of if you could choose to do YouTube for full time, creating full time, not just YouTube, but creating full time, would you do it?
I would love it if I was able to. Yeah, I think I would. I think there's sort of this like I'm sort of at the edge of that cliff. But like I don't know if I'm ready to jump and take that chance yet, you know?
Yeah,
I'm already fair. Yeah. Like it's still doing really well, but I've just always had it as like my little passion project, and I don't know whether or not to like let it fly. Which is a really weird way of putting it, but especially there was a point in my career where I was at like maybe 25,000 subscribers for a good like 6 months. It stagnated hard, and a big reason for that was because I stopped doing Undertale, and that's where it goes back to I didn't want to get caught in that niche, so I was like, I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do, and everything just stopped. And I was like, I see. That's fine. And so I just kept doing it. So less people started watching the stuff that I had done because a lot of people who started that first sort of wave of subscribers for me were all into Undertale. And I saw a lot of people who did Undertale content and they got stuck in it. And they weren't able to get out of it. Even when they tried, they couldn't get as much of like an influx of people. And so I was like, I'm not going to worry about getting big. I'm not going to use this to get big because I don't want this to be all that I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do my own thing. If people follow me, they follow me. And if they don't, they don't. So, and for a while they didn't. And that was fine.
And now you're at the edge of.
Now I'm at the edge of, oh God, people are liking my stuff because they like me. Oh no.
Is there a fear that if you were to make it to where, because if you were to do it like right now, you would have to double down on all your projects and all your ideas.
Yeah.
You would have to be like, all right, this is my everyday. I'm doing this every day. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if you adjust your sleeping schedule, but like, this is my work. This is my 11 at night to 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
Is this. And if that would change, like, if you could put yourself in those shoes in that place, the imminence of like, well, I gotta pay my bills and I gotta obviously.
That's what I'm probably a little bit afraid of. What I like about the job that I have right now is that it helps pay my bills and it is a very good, stable place to be in.
I'd love to say the same about my job, but it is. There are times, you know, that's physically demanding some days.
Yeah, and like it can be very physically demanding. Like I am doing the graveyard shift of 11 to 9. I sit and look at screens all day. I deal with people sometimes that are not always fun to deal with, but at the end of the day, I'm still making enough money to keep myself in a comfortable spot. Yeah. And what I'm afraid of is that even though I know it would be so fun, and I know that it would be like a cool thing to kind of be able to do, I'm not sure that it is providing me with enough stability. I'm not looking at it right now and saying, I can do this. I'm looking at it right now and saying, I might do this. Yeah. If I hit one more jump, maybe, if I hit one more jump that put me like way over the top on something, or if like I said, I got a new mic and I'm like, I've always wanted to try and do like voiceover stuff for kicks and giggles because why not?
I would love
if
to
that
do voiceover stuff.
God, I thought it'd be so fun. And also I just love doing little voices all the time. So like if that ever took off, or if somebody from an agency or something was like, hey, we like you and want you to do this, then I might feel comfortable enough to like take that leap of faith.
Yeah.
There's just not enough there for me right now, which sounds weird, but
No. I grew up in and it's still stuck with me. Out of everything I've grown up, fiscal conservative thinking has stuck with me. So like jumping to YouTube as a full-time gig from sports production took a long time, and not something I did lightly, and nor did my mother for the longest time think it was. I mean, I got the question of, so when are you going to get like a real job? Like at least for like a year and a half, after it was like profitable. And not like fully profitable, like not like making, like Patreon was my only source of income at that point. And then after that, I started selling music, and that was a huge jump. And then the NCN with the advertising and all that started going up too. So, and then conventions came along, and so it took a while for my mom to find it legitimate. And then she helps me with my taxes every year. And then just last year, when she was doing my taxes, I think she like realized like, oh, my child is secure, and I don't know why I'm concerned. So she finally figured that out. I think if you were to release a D&D album with your songs and music, a 10-song album, and sell it, have cool art behind it and whatnot, you sell that thing on iTunes and Spotify, and put that on Apple Music, I'm like, that's gonna be at minimum like half a year of at least rent. I'm like positive.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
No, that's not even me like just being like, oh, like I think like I'm trying to be encouraging. I think I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
Like
no, that's crazy though.
I think it would sell very well.
Ooh.
And I think people will put that on their playlists for when they play D&D. It's evergreen.
A lot of people have actually done that, and that's one thing I think is so cool right now. I always get a whole bunch of comments on like Maw of the King and the Assembly song. They're like, oh, I've used this to like start a campaign. I'm like, I want to see it. I want to see these campaigns. I want to be in one.
I see
what you made.
I see Steve and Abigail seem maybe a little surprised by that fact, but like it for real though. Like you're thinking about worldwide here, and not only are you thinking about worldwide, you're thinking about a multitude, like 10 plus different audio platforms that people listen to music, and with a worldwide original song with a worldwide game that people play. I mean, the base is massive, and I think your song that you put out, out of the only really relevant thing in it is that it was a D&D song.
Yeah.
And the fact that it caught fire just on its quality. Not like it wasn't a property attached to it, right? It was an original character that you made.
It was my character, Danny. It was my tiefling girl.
So my thought is like, if you can make songs like that people can play and relate to, and just people feel like they're more invested in their D&D campaigns, and then they get behind your character, then I think the sky's the limit. And I don't know your rent situation or your living situation in Atlanta, and I don't know Georgia's, property tax, any of that.
Yeah.
But a full album of that music, like no one's really. I mean, I shouldn't say no one. I haven't heard of many people doing the thing that you would be doing or have been doing, honestly. And clearly, there's an audience for it.
Oh my gosh, that'd definitely be really cool. I think. Oh, I'd really love to do that actually.
Well, you mentioned too, like you said like, oh, I have song ideas. I just want to flesh them out. I want better equipment, better skills, and all whatever. What may you? But like, I mean, look at what you've done with just like a day and the bare minimum that you would call like, can you go back and like, would you even consider like, you might laugh at yourself for going back and making a song again using the tools you have, but it's like, dude, that got millions of people's attention. Just something so simple. It doesn't have to sound perfect.
It just needs to sound produced.
It just needs to sound good and like not sound like it was recorded on a potato, and people will be fine. People will be fine. Like you don't need.
You got a problem with my potato songs, Caleb?
You
got a problem with my potato?
Your song was not potato, and the quality wasn't potato. As long as it's like the wave.wave file, 40,000 KB, whatever the heck the number
I
qualification
think
is.
it's 48.
Yeah, 48. There you go. As long as
Yeah.
it's that, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Like it'd be perfectly fine. I don't know. I see a lot of y'all. I see a lot of and I obviously, Cami, we know a lot of people on YouTube in a group of people that we mingle around with, but like there's so much potential in everybody there that'll go well beyond where I am or will be. And it's like these y'all just gotta like recognize it. You gotta once you recognize it and you do it, man, that's like forget about it. That's the new. Why do you? I have positioned. I'm trying to
become Shia LaBeouf.
I'm positioning myself for like not being relevant anymore, but still being kind
No, you will always be relevant.
I'm positioning myself to be like, all right, well, around people who are like really good and like relevant, then maybe. And I'll,
hey, Caleb,
maybe they'll still keep me around.
This is my formal invitation of I'm going to keep you relevant. There is a song on my album that low key I wanted to do a duet.
All right.
Yes!
I'm down 100%.
Yes! You heard it first!
Absolutely down for that.
You heard it first. Somebody tag that and save that. You heard it first.
This is our podcast exclusive announcement. No.
That's actually like. What's so weird about this though too is that this dynamic is so different than what it was a year ago.
That's true.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, like, it's so. I feel like somewhat like. Oh boy, I was going to use the word leech. Wrong word.
No.
No. Yeah, right. There's a lot of emotions that come with it. There is a my channel thrives because there are incredibly skilled, passionate, and talented people on it. Like 100%. That is why. I'm not downplaying my involvement in my channel. I'm not downplaying who I am and what I've done with the channel and my ideas. I'm saying that it is not anywhere near or close to as successful as it has been in a lot of cases if it were not for the willingness and the passion of those who've been a part of it. Like at all. Like it's like there's no way. Like if I just did a cover of This Is Me with just me and just my voice and me singing in front of you best believe it would not have gotten near the amount of attention that what your passion and your work and what you brought to the table brought to it. It just wouldn't have.
That still blows my mind.
Well, and there's like but there's also still kind of like well, I have to work past the thought of like I'm stealing because I have to work through that because in a way it's like, well, you know what you need to think about it as is you're giving people at least a platform to practice, get the, do things, try things out, but also to get their work out and you're supporting them.
That's what I appreciated so much about your channel though. Like coming from like a fan perspective, what I loved about your work is that you were more than happy to like give that voice to people who have not necessarily had that voice, or like they've been struggling to get onto like that platform. Like the fact that you were reaching out to people and saying, here, like you push somebody out on the stage and say, there you go. You've created this stage and this audience, and you're taking people from like the backstage and putting them out there. You're putting people who are like on the lighting and putting them on the stage because you know that they have a good voice because you've heard them singing in rehearsals. Like that's how I see it.
Well, I think that's probably how I should view it. I think that's the healthy way to view it.
Right. That is like how I always view it because you are it. That's kind of a big reason why I always work with smaller YouTubers too. Like now Tony, Aaron 530, I think it's 530 or 350. Reverse either of those numbers. But like, I find that working with people who like, it also kind of keeps that passion going for yourself though too.
It does.
Don't you think? Because you hear these people and you're like, why aren't you more popular? You throw the person out on stage. Look at this.
Yeah. No.
Amazing work.
It does feel like this a special moment to see them get all this get a large amount of attention that it's like, okay, if my platform had any part in this. If my numbers, quote unquote, at any part, then I can feel good about that, and that they're getting all this attention that they rightfully deserve, and that there will be a never-ending amount of people like that who deserve at least some recognition for the effort and their passion about what they do, just a little bit. You know, there will never not be somebody who I could give that opportunity to. And not only that, but I think as my channel gets further and into doing lots of different things and wanting to branch out, I'm having to look harder and harder for people that can do things that I can't do, and have fresh ideas and have unique art styles that add to what an idea that I had was. Like, I'm having to do that more frequently as my channel goes on. And in a lot of ways, I think it's like I'm having to understand that I'm not usurping power to those who invite onto it, but it's like, this is what my channel is now. It's an amalgamation of lots of different people. I've been thinking about that over the past week, and as I've had a little bit more time to relax and not work on the channel, I'm pretty far ahead. Is like remembering and just pondering over, like, wow, I'm looking at my list of videos that are coming out, and not a single one of them is like, oh, this is entirely me, like it was from 2014 to 2015, where it was just getting karaoke tracks and singing, and that was it. Like, my philosophy has changed so dramatically from them, where it's like I got to do it all myself, to
I had that thought too.
Yeah, till these videos will.
Oh my god.
Same wavelength, southern wavelength.
Says Southern Wavelength, we gotta do it all by ourselves, Caleb. We can't have anybody help us.
No, don't you
No
dare
one gets
send
to
me.
help.
Don't you dare send me to a tutor, because I can complete 7th grade on my own. What? That didn't really happen. What?
Don't you dare send me a speech class. I don't have an impediment. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we can figure it out on our own.
We can figure it out by ourselves.
No, but eventually, just slowly but surely, like
That learning curve.
relinquishing control, like just letting other people take it. And
I'm
be like,
in
hey,
that
look,
right now.
I can make this. I can make it good.
I'm in that right now because I'm like working on like multiple different video projects. I have found that I don't have necessarily time to like do a lot of the stuff that I normally would do on my own. Which now, though, that I have the means, it gives me the opportunity to reach out to all of my art friends who I've always wanted to commission forever. And I'm like, hey, now's your time.
Hey,
like with with like Hymn of the Lost. I have a Catcher song that I'm working on that I just got art for, and I'm so excited. There's another song that I'm working on that I'm hoping to get art for, which would be amazing if I could. Ooh. There's another D&D song that I got art for, which my friend is going to be really excited about because I got it for her character.
Oh, that's dope. That's cool.
Yeah, that's another thing. I get to spoil my friends.
That's fun. That's fun. I had an idea literally the other day. I say today. I had an idea. I have a friend over right now who I've known since like I was 5. And I had this idea. I was like, I'm gonna make a cover album, a 12-song cover album. And the album title is going to be "Please Buy This." Not "Please Buy." It's going to be "I'm Paying My Friends' Bills with This Album."
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's going to be like a lot of my friends that I've come to know over the years. They're going to sing on it. Like, they're going to sing on it, and they'll get 50% of the song they're on.
Wow.
They'll just get that, and then people buy it and stream it. It's a little supplementary income. I'm like, that's a really neat concept.
That's such a neat concept.
Awesome.
Like, and then I get to you get to hear their voices, and like the people you don't even know, like complete nobody.
Yeah.
You don't know. You have no clue who like Janessa Von Trockton is. I just made up a name.
Listen,
you don't
can't
know
spoil who's on the album.
Yeah, that's a secret guess. And I think that'd be neat.
Oh yeah.
That's such a cool idea.
I know you said you had to get going here shortly, Caleb. There's two things, like
Yeah.
much like our idea, Cami. There's an idea that came into my head as sitting here listening and everything, and two ideas came into my head. And one, I think I had asked you originally, and I understand, busy guy. I did have an idea for a form of collab between you and potentially myself. I don't sing very often. I only sing whenever I'm driving to work or I'm driving home.
Okay.
But I did have an idea for a song, just for like a cover, just to see let's see what happens.
Okay.
And I can, email you about that later or something.
You probably did email me about it more than likely.
I might have. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you've had so many emails you've sent to me.
You know,
Hey, man, just trying to catch up, just trying to get back with you. Because you said it's okay if I message you, and I do.
yeah, it's just, hey, I'm here.
I would not blame you.
I'm always around. Like I said earlier, I'm in that space routine. I'm here. I'm not. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, but resend it.
Yeah, I'll definitely
Resend it.
I'll definitely do that. Another idea, and much like how Cami and I did to an idea to try to make this happen, and in which, hey, what do you know? 2 months later, it happened. Somebody I definitely want to get on here, and I think the best way to do it, and because I don't know what the best way to get a hold of him is, I understand that he's an extremely busy guy, is something kind of similar to this, how us three, but if there's any way we could try to get John on here. Because I think John would. I think John would have. Oh no!
That laugh tells you everything.
Oh my!
Good luck.
Oh, we gotta do this. This has gotta happen.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh,
I wish you the best of luck with that one.
I'm not gonna lie. I honestly think John would actually have a good time doing this.
I think John would have a good time doing a lot of things.
That's true.
I think John.
I mean, it really does, but he's a very busy guy.
Bless him.
John is as busy as he wants to be. John is an enigma.
It's so true.
Fascinating character, and I love John to my deepest core and every fiber of my being. But it is a shame that he is not more open. When I say open, I don't mean like emotionally, but it's a shame he's not more present. There we go.
Right.
There you go. That's the word.
Not more present, because who he is. If you watched any panels he's been in, or you had the opportunity
oh my gosh,
meet with him,
which said
he is endlessly insightful and fascinating, and incredibly empathetic, more than you would know. And
he's also extremely witty. I still hold my poster that I got from him near and dear to my heart, even though when I got it from him, I didn't know what I wanted him to write on it. And so I just said, well, you can write anything really. And he goes, okay. And it just says anything really on it.
Yeah, that sounds like John.
I hold it near and dear to my heart because that's the best kind of thing you can do. I love that joke. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, so I say all of that to preface my statement of, I have and many without naming any names, but many a convention have tried to have me get John. And when John and I were doing conventions together, it made sense to me why people would be like, oh, let's bring John too with you. And to the credit of a lot of these conventions, they still brought me, so thank you. But there have been many people that have asked me, like, hey, how do I get contact with John, or can you contact John for me? And I completely 100% sympathize with the belief and the notion that I could. But when it comes to I would not know, nor do I think I would want to try. In terms of outside of the convention request that I've sent his way, I'll be like forward an email. Asking him to participate in anything beyond that is not one that I even know if I'm would feel comfortable doing, or if he would feel comfortable. Right. If I cross that boundary, because then I start stepping into agent territory. And I don't want to. And it's weird because when it comes to John in particular, because I met him, he's one of the first people I ever collaborated with on YouTube, and met him, and he was just experimenting too and trying to figure things out as well as I was. The first at least 2 times we met was albeit we were amicable and friendly and got along. I don't think a friendship really started to develop until we started going to conventions together. I remember at MetroCon in Florida, after our concert, the first year, we went back up to the we had to stay in the same hotel room because they couldn't pay for his own room at the time, so we had to be in the same room. And my wife was there too, but the three of us just sat in the foyer. I hadn't had like a long talk with someone for a long, like just because, but it came out. But that was like a come to Jesus, like know each other moment,
right?
And it was like a heart to heart kind of moment. So it was really cool to transition into like, hey, I'm your, like like a very real, tangible way. So it's like I want everyone to know John, right? Like at this point now, I want everyone to just know John, because
it's that Will Smith posing at your friend, like, hey, check it out.
Yeah, it's not fair that I'm one of the handful of people that he allows in. I'm grateful. I'm entirely grateful, and will never ever like take it for granted. It's just like, dang, dude, like you have so much to give, and you're so smart and thoughtful, and like there are people who want to get to know you. And I understand that you're busy and all these other things, and have a lot of projects, because he's a really passionate person and creative.
Yeah.
Right.
But man, it's a shame that more people can't know you. That's what I say. It's just a shame.
I didn't talk to him a heck of a lot, but I remember vividly I talked to his dad at MomoCon.
Yeah,
I recognized
you told us
him.
in the
Freaking-
last
Yeah,
podcast.
I told you at the last podcast, because I just like,
Oh, Paul.
oh my gosh, no,
Paul is
'cause
great.
Paul is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. And the thing was, like, not a lot of people noticed him at the con. Like, everybody was chasing after Jonathan because he was going to go do, like, his rehearsals. But then I saw his dad, and I remember seeing his dad from, like, his Goofy movie covers. And I loved that movie. So I, like, ran to his dad, and I was like, oh my gosh. Basically, it was like, his Goofy voice is so good. And he just, like, lit up. And we went on, like, a thorough 30-minute conversation.
That's cool. That's really great. If you get to know Paul, you get to know John too.
Paul is so nice.
If you get to know him, he is just a stone's throw away from John. Like, he really is. But yeah, so I don't know how to get him on here. That's the answer.
Right. I completely understand that, and that's why I said,
I wish I
he's
could.
a very busy guy. I'd love to have him on here. One of the things I said to Ian, unfortunately, he couldn't be here to join us tonight because he's got to get up early for his job. I told him, there's a number of people that I want to get onto onto one of these podcasts throughout the year. And I've done now, this would be number 4, and we're now 8 months through the year, almost basically to 9.
That bi-monthly podcast.
Well, it was supposed to be monthly, and then, this became a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
I feel that. I've done many a podcast in my time.
What was it? I think I had put it on Twitter. I said, John, definitely John, because I'd absolutely love to have John on here. I think, I even put both of you back on there because, well, for this, and here we are.
That's so nice.
I think it's been a good show.
I definitely feel like it has, especially for running for about an hour and 50 some odd minutes. Almost 2 hours.
I feel like I went into a lot of stuff that people didn't necessarily understand. I am sorry.
Don't be sorry.
No, if we're not getting the realist, next time it's got to go like even. We got to get some deep scars. Next time, I'll dig up some.
I'm ready.
I'm in.
We'll trade podcast scars and then eventually you got to get Thunderstar. He's got to be breaking down.
You got to get in on this.
You got to break down in tiers. You're
trying to give me a tier.
Yes!
You're gonna have a very difficult time doing that one.
That's a challenge I'm willing to accept.
Then
Be
I
ready.
openly welcome it.
Ooh. I got
like,
a good high school story.
Get the popcorn. All right.
Get your tissues ready. You're gonna eat those words.
Well, I am hungry, so.
Well, fortunately for you, you can cook really well.
Hey.
I just lack the money to get the ingredients to do so.
Well, hey, you got some ice for that burn, though, right?
Steel.
Maybe.
No one even noticed me say that. I'll just be quiet.
Oh no!
I was like,
very funny, Caleb.
You just steal, like.
Oh yeah, you could.
I'm sure you throw out plenty of food.
Unfortunately.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just jack it. Like, I know you're not supposed to.
Oh no, but we do actually get a chance to take a box home with us.
Oh, okay, they allow you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we at least get the chance to.
That's
There was
good.
actually a point where we couldn't because so many people were taking like 3-4 boxes home when you were only allowed to take one.
Yeah, because the food's gonna get thrown away. Like,
Yeah.
that's why they take all the food. It's because they need it and would like it, and or it's just going in the trash.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. I get it. I understand you're trying to help the bottom line, and you don't want to make it where everyone can take it because then no one would buy anything, and you might have people taking the trash. Like, I get it.
Oh yeah.
I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
No, it's entirely, you're completely right, because I hear it all the time about people. We had a interesting event yesterday for 400 people.
Nice.
That was
long day.
all farmers too. All farmers.
Oh, cool.
And that was
Dum 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 dum.
we had. I'm trying to remember. I think we.
Only the real ones get that one.
I was waiting for that.
Damn it!
Only the real ones.
I was trying.
But you know
There was. What was it? We had like 18 pans of like barbecue brisket, and by the end of that event, which only ran for an hour, from 6:30 to 7:30, we had 0 pans of brisket, 4 pans of ham, I think one pan of green beans, and 4 things of apple cobbler.
Oh wow.
No one wanted the ham.
Oh, I took some ham. You think I'm gonna let
Oh,
good
I'm in
smoked
late.
honey ham go to waste? Hell no!
Ooh, that sounds so
Yeah.
good though.
My kid.
I'm with you, Kim. You will take me alive!
Okay. Let me put my cat down.
Oh, kitty.
Let's say one of my cats was. If you listen closely, I think he meowed in the background at some point during the stream.
I miss my kitty. I need to go visit her at my parents' house.
Do your parents
She's-
live in the area?
No, they live about like 4 hours away. They live on Hilton Head where I grew up.
I know. Dude, Hilton Head. I went there like last year.
Oh my god, I love it so much. I miss
That's really
it.
nice. It's really nice.
It's such a good place to grow up.
I imagine. Yeah, I imagine it's a really
Oh,
good
yeah.
place to go. Nice beachfront, everything. It's nice.
Like basically I could take
That's why you like swimming.
I had to learn. Listen, it
Yeah.
was survival.
Survival of the fittest.
Oh.
It's like growing up in
Yeah.
Miami and being like, I just really love the sun. It's like, yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, of course you grew up in Miami. I grew up in
I
Nebraska.
mean,
grew up in
after I
Nebraska. Guess what? I still don't like corn that much.
But you see, I moved away
Here
from
I
home.
am.
Like, the funny part about living by a beach, though, is because you leave the beach and you go look at people like, what do you mean you never learned how to swim? And everyone's like, I never had to learn. And I'm like, what? That's crazy.
It's like people not learning how to drive who
Yeah.
large cities. They just don't need it.
It's so crazy.
Mike.
Mm.
Dang. Well, thank you, Thunderstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I appreciate
this
it.
was definitely. This was a lot of fun. This was everything we had hoped it would turn out to be 2 months ago.
God. Again, I'm sorry if I went on rambles.
You never apologize for that.
Nah, it was good. All good stuff. All good information. And
What?
fun to
I
get
want
know
to say
about.
thanks to
Yeah.
everybody that came around, to everybody that was in the chat just chatting it up, and everybody just kind of sitting back enjoying the broadcast, just listening. Even if you didn't.
Yeah,
talk
if
to
you haven't
chat,
followed his channel,
yeah,
if
follow
you
all
haven't
3 of
followed
us.
his channel yet, hit that follow button up there on the Twitch, wherever you are. Go to Thunderstar5758.
Heck
and,
yeah.
hit that follow
I
button.
would say I'm on Twitter, I'm on Twitch, I'm on YouTube. I really need to get back into YouTube stuff.
Heck yeah.
But
You do what it makes you something you're passionate about. There you go. There's it.
Remember, follow your dreams.
I
Nuggets of
finished that
wisdom here.
sentence. Stuck that landing.
You did it.
so, hope everybody enjoyed.
Be passionate.
We'll see you guys later.
Later.
See y'all. Bye.
See
Bye.
y'all.
Bye.
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 So many people saying goodbye.